Hi students, today we are going to look at materials in Revit architecture. I have already created a 3D model of a small house and now we can see how to apply material to a wall. First select the wall for which the material is to be edited. Then in the wall properties go into Edit Type. The Type Properties window opens and we can click the Edit button next to the structure's parameter. Another window opens with the Assembly dialog and in it you can see the Wall Material and Thickness tab. When we bring the mouse near the material name there is a small square button next to it. By clicking the button we can open the material browser. As we can see there are already many different default materials present within the material browser and we can scroll through it and select the material which we want to assign to our wall. Each material has a different set of properties depending on the type of material. Now I am selecting a wood material. When we click on a material it opens an additional tab showing the different characteristics and properties assigned to the material. Identity tab has the description of the material and Graphics tab shows how the material appears in the sheets and in rendered view. If we want to have the material hatch in plan views to look the same as their actual render appearance, check the Use Render Appearance dialog. If we want the plan view to show wood grain or other custom pattern then leave it unchecked and edit it further. This is similar to the hatch command in AutoCAD. We can change how a material appears both on its surface and in cut section. We can select different colors or different patterns depending on how we want the material to be hatched in the sheet views. Next is the Appearance tab. This tab contains most of the parameters which would affect how a material looks when it is rendered. The parameters in the Appearance tab varies depending on the type of material. Since I have selected a wood material it shows the parameters which are usually seen in wood type materials in real life. The information has description of the material. The box on top shows how the material appears in rendered view and the image can be customized based on how we want the material to appear. By clicking on the text below the image the Materials File Explorer is opened and we can see the default material patterns and textures already available in Revit. By using these images the appearance of the material can be changed. We can also use our own images to customize the look of the material. Below the image are the stain color finish and used for tabs. Depending on our desired parameters we can change the options. If the relief pattern is selected then the material gets three-dimensional texture similar to the actual material in real life. Tint changes the color of the material image. This is useful when the image we have is in a different color other than what we want. Physical and Thermal tabs shows the physical and thermal properties of the material. We can also create new materials depending on what we need for the project. In the left bottom of the material browser there is a button denoted by a sphere and plus symbol. By clicking it we can see that there is a drop-down box. It contains two options: Create New Material and Duplicate Selected Material. By clicking Create New Material a default new material is created. I am naming it Beige Painted Wall as I want a material with appearance of beige paint. As we can see this new material does not have any properties assigned to it to define material characteristics. This can be assigned using the Asset Browser. The Asset Browser button is located next to the Create New Material button. Clicking on it opens the Asset Browser. This consists of a number of different material types which are usually required in an architectural project. We can select the type of material we need based on physical asset or appearance. As I want a wall paint material I am selecting the Paint tab in the Appearance Library tab. As we can see it consists of a list of the different colors of paint. Since I want a beige colored wall I am choosing beige option. Double-clicking the selected color assigns the material character to the new material we created. Now we can close the Asset Browser and apply the material to our wall. Now we can see that the material we created has been applied to the selected wall. In the same way let us try creating another material. Now I am selecting this wall which has a wooden texture. I want to change its material to a brown paint finish. So again, selecting the wall and going into the Properties editor, I am opening the Material Browser window. And using the Create New Materials tab, I am creating a default new material. I am renaming it to Brown Wall. Opening the Asset Browser and going into the Appearances library, I am selecting the Wall Paint category, and in it I am choosing chocolate brown color. Now we can see that the Material Properties tab has the qualities of paint listed. I am applying this material to the selected wall by clicking on Apply. We can see that all the walls which were of this type have now changed to brown color. Now let us look at another way of opening the Material Browser. In the ribbon, go to the Manage tab. It has the icon for the materials. By clicking on the icon, the Material Browser can be opened. The list of materials which are already listed in a project depends on the elements and components in the open project. The project which is open now has a lot of components placed in it, and so the Material Browser shows all the materials of the components. Now let's see the steps in creating a wall tile cladding material using a custom tile image. First, I am selecting the wall in which the material has to be applied. Then let's go into edit mode within the properties by clicking the Edit Type button. Within the Structure editor, let's go into the Edit Assembly window and open the Material Browser. Let's create a new material and name it Tile Cladding. Since we are going to use our own image to define the appearance of the material we created, we need not use the Asset Browser. Go to the Appearance tab and click on it. We can see that there are some properties listed. First is a view of how the material looks when rendered. Below there is a button for editing the image and also a link to open the File Explorer. I am clicking on the link and opening the File Explorer. Here I am selecting a tile image which I have saved. Now we can see that the image is applied to the material. We can also see that there are a few image properties below the image which can be modified as needed. Clicking on the image box opens the texture editor. In this window we can edit the scale, size, position, brightness and placement of the image. Since we are creating a tile cladding material which has surface projections and texture, I am checking the bump option and using the same image as bump image. This option uses the contrast present in the image to create depth. By using black and white images as bump map, we can create very deep textures. Now let us see how the material we created appears in the wall on which we have applied it. Zooming in the wall shows that the tile is not placed to scale. We can adjust this to our desired size in the material editor. I am again opening the Material Browser using the Properties tab and going into the Appearance tab of our material. By clicking on the image box we can open the texture editor. In it we can use the size option to adjust the size of the image as we desire. I am changing it to a 2 feet square. Now I am closing the texture editor and material browser. Zooming in the 3D view we can see that the tile size has changed to the way we modified it.